Greetings, Spitz Planetarium users. This is Dan Selinsky of Spitz Planetarium, and today's tutorial is about how to make a twinkle effect in your sky and very quick ATM shortcuts to decrease your programming time. Let's get started. First off, thank you Spitz for Preview Suite. This actually allows me to record my audio live as I create what you're about to see. Typically, I would have to pre-record it and then record the audio afterwards. But Preview Suite allows me to do it all at once. Thank you, Spitz. But let's go ahead and start. In order to create a twinkling effect, you basically need to obscure your stars. So we're going to create a full dome slide using Paint. Paint comes with all Windows programs, so everybody should have this one. You are going to go up to the menu program, go down to Properties, and create a 19 by 30 square. This is actually going to be bigger than the dome, and you're going to see why we want that in a second. Go to the Fill Paint and make sure it is on black, and go ahead and fill that square to the full black color. I then want to create a guideline for it. So I'm going to go to this oval maker. I'm going to choose a color yellow, something bright for us to see. I'm going to make it as thin as I can. I'm then going to go to the upper left part of this square and drag it all the way down to the lower right part of the square. Now for the video, I think I'm going to go one more thicker. There we go, so you can see it. But what this is going to do is this is just a guideline to represent our horizon or spring line. Now you'll remember that we made it 1930 by 1930 and not 1920 by 1920 because we don't want the yellow line to eventually show up on our dome, so we made it just slightly bigger. Now to create the obstruction to our stars, we need to create off black lines. So I'm going to go over here to Edit Colors. I'm going to click on black. That's going to put all these settings to true black. I'm now going to change red to 1, green to 1, and blue to 1. Now we have a color that is very close to true black, but we're going to call it off black. We're going to add it to our custom colors. We hit OK, and you can see our off black is now right there. All right, so true black's on the top, off black's on the bottom. We're going to make sure we're clicked on off black here. We are. And I'm going to now take my brushes, pick the crayon. I just think it's a cool effect. You can choose whichever one you want when you're playing around with this. And I'm going to choose the second size down. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give some space above the yellow line for any horizon pan that you happen to have in your dome. So I want to make sure to give enough space in there. So I'm going to start right about here, and I'm just going to create a tic-tac-toe pattern across the sky in wiggly lines. So that was one line. Here's a second line. Then we go this way, and we go this way. Something like that. All right, now you'll notice you didn't see anything get drawn, but that's because, remember, we're drawing off black on true black. It is so close that you don't notice it. So just to make sure it did work, I like to use my paint filler, and I'm going to right click to use the white color instead of the black color, and you'll see that in fact something was drawn. That's good. That's decent for our tutorial here. So I'm just going to hit Control Z, undo twice, just to put that black back where it belongs. And here is the key to make this work. Come down to Save As and save it as a bitmap. It is absolutely essential that you save it as a bitmap because in ATM4, bitmaps take black and make it clear and transparent, and that's what makes this effect work. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as YouTube here, and there we are. Now if you didn't know where you should be saving slides in order to have them work in preview, it is right here. C Drive Program Data, Simulation Curriculum, Starry Night Prefs, Sky Data, Slides. Now, how to get it on the dome. Of course, we're going to open up an ATM. We're going to drag that file right in there. And now, of course, we get to insert our information. The key point here is you do want semi-transparent. That's what makes the program turn black into clear. We're going to change Keystone to full screen because we do want it to cover our entire screen. We want everything up high except for opacity. Let's make it 20%. And lastly, we do want it to move a little bit, so we're going to choose rate of 3 degrees per second. Execute and OK. And just to make sure that that is, in fact, working, you can see right there we have our 20% lines slowly moving across. So put any stars behind it, and of course they will be obstructed. Now to create the full effect, you want to do this more than once. So I'm going to create 3 more lines. I'm going to just copy and paste 3 more commands. Now, yes, we're using the exact same slide, but because these are labeled in 3 different names, these will act as 4 different slides for us today. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make the second one a little bit darker, 5 more opacity. I'm going to make it start 90 degrees from the other ones, and I'm going to make it go the other way with -3. The third one will go to 30 opacity. We'll make it start at 180 and we'll go to 6 rate, so it goes a little faster. And the final one will go to 35 opacity. We'll make it start at 270 and we'll go to -6 rate, going faster the other direction. Okay, so now if we play this, you'll see that we'll get 4 different slides going around in different directions, creating the twinkling effect. Now if I go ahead and just take the, sorry, wrong one. If I go ahead and go to this favorite here to show a nighttime sky, you can see here, I don't know if you can see that in the video, but you can see stars like here in Scorpius and Sagittarius, maybe the 3 stars in the summer triangle there, they are definitely twinkling. Alright, so that's a very, real quick, no Milky Way. I actually labeled the favorite that just to remind you, do not have your Milky Way up during you trying to do this effect, because obviously the Milky Way will show those lines and the secrets of the planetarium. Now let's pretend I do want to fade these out eventually. Now of course you have the typical method of double click, hitting a slide and then going here and fading everything out, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 1. This is the technique I actually showed at the Institute, which is using your hotkeys to do it quickly. E to open up the slide, tab, space to open up the color, tab 0, tab 0, tab 0, tab 0, tab 1, enter. And if you do that, if you're used to doing it quickly, you can get a lot of slides created quickly. Less slide commands, that is. However, I came across this by mistake and it blew my mind. I had to share it with you. I want to do the same command with all of these. I want to just fade them out. Well, notice how I have all 4 of them selected and I have where I want the fade to come in at. I'm simply going to hit E, tab 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 1, and enter, and holy cow, all 4 of them appeared. It writes them all the same, and so you can actually write all 4 commands at once. Now, of course, after they're faded out, I want to kill them, so I'm simply going to hit K and enter, and you'll see that all 4 kill commands also come into play. So with very few keystrokes, I've faded all my twinkle out and killed the slides later. Now, if you are wondering whether or not this works if you're using different slides, the answer is yes. So I've now drug in 4 slides that are completely differently labeled. Now, these 4 all use the same slide, so that all have YouTube bit. But you'll notice that this is JPEG 1, this is JPEG 2, JPEG 3, and JPEG 4. So copying and paste, it won't work. So if I create, for example, if I create one slide right here, and let's say I want to fade it out like that, and now I copy this and I go paste, 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 you'll notice that it doesn't work because that's JPEG 1. But I copy JPEG 1, so it's going to fade JPEG 1 again and 1 again. But these aren't 1. This is 2, 3, and 4. So copy and paste does not work. However, this technique does. Make sure all 4 of your slides are selected. Put where you want the fade in. I'm going to again bring up the slide. I want them all to fade out to 0. And you can see they all get written, but they all get written to the slide they're corresponding to. Holy cow, does this save a ton of time. Again, if I want to kill multiple slides, maybe you're people that don't use the slide commands, maybe you like to fade with the kill command, that's fine. Highlight all 4, hit the K button. I want these tracks to fade over 2 seconds. Bam, all 4 of those are now fading over 2 seconds at the same time. So much time being saved using this technique. So hopefully you guys can use those two things, the twinkle effect and the really cool shortcut that we accidentally came across to speed up your programming times. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or put comments below. This has been Dan Zielinski from Spitz Planetarium, and I'll see you next time.